Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here. Patrick Reusse with me as usual on Mondays. Patrick, how are you doing?
Oh, I've had better weekends, but I got my health, so that's good. I got a lot of other issues that are going to be expensive for me, but I don't. I got my health, so I guess that's what counts. What the
You,
hell? Like, it might cost the grandkids some money this weekend in the inheritance, but outside of that, it's okay. So yeah.
you, you spent a lot of the weekend out at the 3M golf tournament, which finished up Sunday. Hot, I would imagine out there. I didn't do much out there just because of the timing of it, but I imagine it got a little steamy. How was the golf?
It got much better when I first, well, I was out there Thursday, the opening day, and had a lot of guys you never heard of on the leaderboard. Maybe I had some fun with Jay Bridgman was leading, and I thought Junior Bridgman was a little old to be leading the golf tournament because I'd never heard of this guy. And by the way, I wrote this. I looked up Junior Bridgman. He played with the Bucks, 75,
Yep.
starting in 75. Junior's worth 600 million.
What?
He uh, he became a pretty good investor after
I
he got done playing
well,
basketball.
I
He
guess so, because
never made more than 360,000 as a player. He's now worth 600 million, and he's 70 years old. And they put a Louisville business group together to buy Valhalla, that golf course that the
yeah,
PGA of America owned a couple of years ago. Junior was one of the guys that they got in on it, and yeah, Junior's what he owns. He's owned a couple of the black TV networks, owned a couple of the magazines, and he's
okay,
other successful stuff. Junior Bridgman's worth 600
that's
million.
great.
Way to go,
Who
way
knew?
to go, Junior.
Well,
Yes.
and he must have been good at it too, because you're right. He played before the days of big money
Big,
in
big money. Yes,
sports.
that's
Like
right.
you get a lot of athletes these days that become team owners after they're done because they got enough money left over from their playing career. But that is not the day, not 40, 50 years ago was not the case.
Oh, no. So anyway, that was kind of fun to stumble in. But at the end, about middle of the day Saturday, all of a sudden Kuchar appears on the board, and then Jonathan Vegas, who's used to be a really prominent player, who's had gone 7 years without winning, had a bunch of shoulder injuries, kind of disappeared, and then Thigala, who was the best player in the field, he's like seventh in the PGA standings right now, and a great young player who came and Hollis gave him an exemption 2020 to play as a new pro. So he's done that to other guys who haven't showed up again. But this kid's been loyal to them, even though he was in Britain over the weekend.
Hmm.
And then this Maverick McNeely, speaking of money, he's never won. He was the number one amateur in the world out of Stanford in 2015. His daddy sold Sun Microsystems for $2 billion, and Daddy got hacked. He was one of two. He supposedly got a $925 million cut of the sale. So he probably maybe not enough pressure on him financially to ever have to
To
win. I
win.
don't know, but seems like a nice kid, and so that was the final. The final group was Kuchar, Vegas, and McNeely, and then another guy popped up during the day. But they had a great finish. They do have this problem at the end where they get the big jam up on number 18 when they got
Yeah.
to hit it over the lake. So
Yep.
the guys are trying to decide, it takes forever for these guys to hit their second shot. So then you get backed up on the tee, and Vegas was he got to the first tee, and he was needed to get a birdie to win it, and he ended up standing there for 12 minutes before he hit the ball. So, but he hit it great, and then hit his second shot, kind of yanked it, and got over, but he was 96 feet away over on
Ooh.
the far left side of the green. and he two-putted. He knocked her up
Mm,
there 3 feet away and made the putt and won it. So had the little kids run out and jump around. That's always a good scene. But yeah, it ended up being a good tournament. It certainly, Billy Horschel had flown in from Britain after finishing second, and then ended up getting sick and not playing. He was in
yeah.
town, but he got sick, so that kind of hurt him. But as the week progressed, it turned into a better tournament, and it wasn't a. It was, and they had a guy named Greiserman who was going to be a pretty good player, I guess. Who's got two kid brothers. One of them is going to be in the amateur here next
Oh,
next
okay.
month at Hazeltine, but. Yeah, it ended up being some guys you'd heard of, and Kuchar he eagled 18 from off the green on Saturday to kind of get up on the board, and first time all tournament you really heard a roar and a Cooch thing and an explosion, and just so it turned out okay. You're not. Since Live, it's a brave new world in golf, and then they have these designated tournaments, and when you're not one, your field is a little shaky. You don't have many names, but they ended up okay with this collection. So
Well, regardless of the names, I mean, all these guys are good. I mean, the
yes,
best among the best in the world. I got to mention crowds. They do. How are we doing for crowds up there now? Are we
I
doing okay?
it's I got a little better over the weekend, I guess. I don't know. It's such a spread out golf course,
Right.
that it's hard to say. But there was a pretty good crowds around the 18 on Sunday, from the best I could tell. I wasn't up there Sunday, so
Okay.
I mean I just watched it on TV, and
Right.
it looked like it was okay. Sometimes it gets really thin when you get out in the back part of the golf course, because
Yeah.
especially when it's 89 degrees, and people don't want to hump out there, so
No.
it's a long walk, and to get out there, because that's the only way you get around a golf course is you hump it. So
Yes.
to watch it, it's the hardest sport to watch. There's no doubt about it.
Oh,
That's
sure.
for
Yeah.
sure. It is. And the fact that they keep getting the tournament the week after the British, makes it tough for people to get home. This Maverick McNeely, whose dad is worth $1 billion, he and his wife were sleeping on the floor in Orlando over the weekend, like everybody else, stranded trying to
Oh,
make their
geez.
flights. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was that they, the $1 billion ain't get you what it used to when you're trying to get home, and Delta's got you by the
Oh
what you
gosh.
call it. So
Are they now? Are we back? Are we back operating
I
on a
think we're
full? I think
pretty
we're okay.
well.
We're okay
We
now.
might, you might still have a little problem, but it was 6. It was a week. It was a week
Yeah.
of
Well,
of
I,
canceled flights. We had one last week that was ridiculous, and in retrospect, we were talking about Katie and I were talking about it last night. We were lucky; we at least got home.
yeah.
We didn't have any of them canceled. We just had them delayed, delayed, delayed,
Yep.
and then when you got to the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, it was absolute chaos at
Right.
midnight last Monday night. But
Right.
but I think we're back. I don't know, but once again, you're reminded that when you're flying, you're completely at their mercy.
Oh gosh.
They
No
can
kid. Yeah.
do
There's
anything they
no more
want
help.
to.
There's no
Yeah,
more
they can.
helpless feeling
I
than just.
I saw a story about a guy who had a child next to him who was had to go to the bathroom or something like this, and it
Hmm.
was it was a prominent guy, and he tapped the steward as he was driving.
Oh
Some
yeah.
steward. Did you see that story? They
Yeah.
ended
Who
up
was
falling,
that?
and they came back and put him in handcuffs.
Yeah.
And he just tapped them on the shoulder, and then
Yeah.
they ended up
Was a
having to apologize. But
former
I've
athlete.
always
Former athlete. I can't remember who it was
yeah
too. Yeah.
I've always said that it's the worst job there is, though, being a steward or a flight
Flight
attendant, because
attendant. Yeah.
people are on them. and
Right.
they think they deserve 4-star service, and you're trying to push carts down an aisle
Yes.
that's got 1 inch on each side,
Yeah. Maximizing space there.
they got less help in the cabin than they used to because of finances, and it's it's a bad job. And then
Yeah.
and then you get in the back it's pretty crowded, and so anyway, I don't know if I never fly again, it'll be too soon. I hate it. So
Yeah. My
used to
wife.
love it. I used to love it. Let's face it, flying went to hell when they stopped having the smoking section in the back. That was when I was flying for sports before when they still had smoking. I never smoked a cigarette in my life, but I always went in the smoking section. No kids, just people back there enjoying their heaters, not wanting to bother anybody, having a few drinks. You want to sleep? That's fine.
Oh,
It was great. I love the smoking section.
oh,
So
that's great.
that's so anyway, that's when I was flying by myself, let's go back
Yes.
there. I'll go smoke. Yep, I'll take a middle seat in the smoking section. I don't care because these
Nice
people
and
don't
quiet.
bother you.
Nice
Yep.
and quiet.
Yeah.
Best thing I can say about flying is the last time we flew was for our trip to Colorado a month ago, and that was the only way. It was the first time I finally got to see Oppenheimer. I watched the first half of it
Okay.
on the way there and the last half of it on the way back. It's
Yeah,
that I'm not even joking. It's that long, and the flight is hour and a half, 2 hours. So
let me say this about Oppenheimer. I went to it and I didn't look at my watch or my phone to see what time it was for like 2.5 hours.
yeah.
When I went to the Scorsese one about, with De Niro and
Oh yeah, the
DiCaprio,
newer. Yeah.
what
Yep.
was the name of that one? I was looking
Uh,
at my watch. I'm an hour in.
okay.
Scorsese took these nice 5-minute scenes and turned them into 22 minutes.
Okay.
It was like reading one of my columns. Get to the point here, buddy. Come on, let's go. Let's
Uh,
go.
that's funny.
So, but Oppenheimer was that was pretty good, but pretty long. So,
It was long, but it was good. It was good. I
yes,
liked it.
yes.
But yes, that's the only way that we're going to watch a 3 hour movie here in our life
We
right
got to
now.
talk about the Twins in a
We
minute,
do.
but
Yeah.
let me bring up the Olympics. I didn't watch much over the weekend. I watched a little of the basketball game because when I covered them, you thought there was nothing else in the world that anybody else was watching, and when you're home, you say, yeah, what's going on today? But
Right.
and it's not the big event it used to be, although I suppose the TV ratings are good. But I loved. I started off thinking the opening ceremonies was ridiculous. I ended up loving the opening ceremonies
Sure.
when I watched them on replay because the French did a great bit of making fun of themselves with that thing. I thought it was
Yes.
tremendous. I mean, they got the menage a Troy going on in the library to show about the romance in France, and then they got Marie Antoinette up there in the windows with her head cut off and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, they did a wonderful job of making fun of themselves. And I know some people miss the marching into the stadium, but I thought the going down on the boats was great. So
Yeah.
it was they did a great job of making fun of themselves. It took 4 hours, but
Oh, who's
it
directing it?
was
Scorsese? Jeez.
yes, he did a lot of it. I mean, he was kind of the overseer, I'm sure that. And then they had the torchbearer running across the roofs of the whole city. I mean, that was a lot of it was on tape, obviously, for
Yes.
TV purposes. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. That was my favorite city in the world. Not that I've been to a lot of them, but like we've been there. My wife's been there maybe 5 times. I've been there 3, but
Yeah.
one
It is
one
great.
really short, but 2 full stays. But yeah, it's a great place. They had a little violence right away on Friday.
Right.
Somebody
With
tried
the
to mess them
trains.
up by trains, but they got 30,000 cops, so hopefully everybody stays safe.
Yeah. It was. I've watched more this weekend than I thought I would. Just kind of getting into it. I watched a little bit of this. I guess before this weekend, I watched a little bit of the soccer, and then I watched a good part of the basketball with the U.S. They were getting it taken to him pretty good early, and then you see Durant. Jeez, he was
Yeah, he went nuts. Yeah, and
eight for eight in the first half.
he hadn't played in any of the
No,
exhibitions. So
no.
And of over the hill guys, he looked the most over the hill, and then he comes out and makes every shot. But
Yeah.
LeBron is fired up. I'll say that for him, man.
Isn't he amazing? He's going to be
He's
40. He's going to be 40 this
he's
year. Like,
bulldozing through people and trying to get fired up. And the only thing that surprised me, I said, was when they decided to bring in that 12th player that it wasn't Bronny, but
yeah.
it was
you see,
Derek White.
you see, they
But
kind of forgot to play Tatum yesterday. They gave him they just he just did. Jason Tatum didn't play yesterday, and Steve Kerr was like,
wow,
"Yeah, I just didn't really work into the rotations." And later on, he was like, "I feel so stupid. I didn't get Jason Tatum in the game. Imagine having a roster so good that you just kind of forget about
yeah,
Jason
yeah.
Tatum."
He's going to have to, they're going to have easier games than this probably,
Yeah,
and they'll be
yeah,
able to
good.
play
Get to go
everybody.
against
But
Jokic.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, but Ant didn't play all that much either. And I mean, I watched
he played
how much he
some.
ended up playing. Yeah, well, he played some, but I think like the third quarter, which was when I was watching, he didn't get in till like the last couple of minutes of the third
Yeah,
quarter.
he played a lot of the first half.
He's obviously one of the best players they got, but they're
Yes.
not. They're bowing down to the old fellas, and look like Curry might have twisted an ankle or something. No, he might have to take a little rest here. But it's funny how he ended up becoming an assist guy basically in the
Yeah.
game. He didn't take many shots, so
No.
it was I'm sure comforting for Kerr to see him play well though, because when you're need a late clutch bucket to beat South Sudan, you got to be a
Oh
little
gosh.
worried, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well,
so
they ended up winning what by 26, I think. Yeah, they were pretty much
yeah,
in
they were, yeah,
cruise control by the end, but they were down
Jokic,
10-2 early.
Jokic doesn't have that much help on that team, but
No, he
that
doesn't.
was an amazing stat they gave yesterday. You think about NBA, the basketball tournament, what it used to be and what it is now. 68 NBAers on the other teams in the tournament.
Yeah.
They said 68. So I mean, there's some players they're playing against
Yes.
now. It's not the walkover it used to be.
No, it's not. But yeah, it was just I just was watching it, watched most of the first half, just kind of marveling at LeBron. I still can't believe he's going to be his 22nd NBA
Yes,
season. He just came into the league in 2003. Like, just thinking about his career, there's a little off topic, I'm sure. Just thinking about his career and all the eyes that are on him at the beginning, all the expectations. And like, what I was saying this to my dad last night. He's staying with us for. I was like, "What's the most controversial thing he's done? Like, go to the Heat? Like this is the like he's had a
yes.
career that's just almost flawless and like it somehow exceeded whatever the expectations were for how good he could be."
Yeah, it is incredible that you look at the number of phenoms that weren't phenoms, and he's been. And the other thing is, this is his fourth Olympics, and
Yeah.
he's played into June every time he's ever, even when he's had
Yes.
a bad year, they got beat in the quarterfinals or something like, they got beat in the conference finals. He's played so many games and so many minutes. It's just incredible. I mean, because not only does he play damn near all of them still, but he plays 38 of a night when they're trying to win. So, yeah, and a huge body. I mean, it's not some
Yes. No.
skinny little guy slipping
It's like
around. It's
6'8", 240.
not John Stockton. It's
No. No.
it's a big fella, and yeah, he has been amazing. He does. That I don't know why people think he's a flopper. He tries to draw a foul once in a while, and then he whines. But that's the NBA.
That's
If
the
we got
NBA.
rid of everybody, if we got rid of the NBA, and you and I'd be playing if it was not the whiners. You took the whiners out. It's
Right?
gotten so bad. It's
No, that's
unbelievable.
true. That is bad.
It
Yeah,
is.
every
It's
single
got
foul.
to drive.
Every
It's got
single
to
foul.
drive. It's got to drive those great guys crazy. These
Oh
Olympic
yeah.
officials. So
Oh
the
yeah.
Olympic officials, just a bunch of dunces out there running around, and they have no idea what they're going to call. But if they get a chance to call a flagrant on the U.S., they're going to. Even if a guy takes a, I mean, the Serbians were doing some serious
Oh, they
flopping trying to
oh,
get.
first half a Serbian player basically came in like executed like a shoulder check on Durant right as he
Yeah,
came into the game, just knocked him into the scorers table. Steve
yeah.
Kerr's like, can I get a flagrant here? And they go to the review. It's like, nope, common foul. Take the ball out of bounds. Okay, all right.
Oh, they're always idiots. They've always been idiots. But then the rules are different. I mean,
Yes,
why would they have a rule where you can take the ball off the
no
rim
idea.
and
No
never
idea. It's
and
a
never
bizarre
change
rule.
it? Okay, it used to be a rule, but
Yes,
40 years ago. But why don't
yes,
we? Now that they're all 7'2", maybe you should get rid of
right.
that rule,
Yes,
you
right.
dummy.
It's kind of fun
But
watching it though. It's like, wait, he can do that?
what is
What is
he
he
doing?
doing? What's
Yeah,
he
yeah.
doing?
They can come out and like you're dribbling and come up and run into you. And it's
Yeah,
okay. That's fine.
it's more physical.
And
It's more
then
physical. Let's just say
somebody,
that. But
yeah, yeah. I am sure that when you're talking to these teams, you got to say, okay, don't scream about everyone they screw up like you do during the reg, because these guys will call technical fouls on you and everything. So you got to put up with a lot more nonsense than you do with the regular NBA refs. That's for sure.
Royal Credit Union's smart checking accounts offer no monthly fees and no minimum balance. Enjoy financial freedom when you open your Royal Credit Union smart checking account online at rcu.org/go checking. Insured by NCUA.
so we do got to talk Twins now. The thing that obviously the good weekend series, the 1, 2 out of 3 again. That's kind of been their feels like 8 out of 9
How
or something. But Ober was fantastic
about
yesterday.
Bailey Over? Man alive, just cruising, and he makes it look so simple. He's six foot
Yeah,
nine, and he throws that changeup yesterday. They had no chance against it. And it must be something about it coming out of that big long arm swing and so easy, but his delivery is so repeatable on everything. And he just, the clock doesn't give him any trouble. 3 seconds to go. After 12 seconds, he's just throwing another pitch, and it's always a
yeah,
strike. And he's been a savior. Last year he never pitched that many innings, and last year they kind of had to shut him down for 2 weeks late in the season. But I mean, he's going to end up pitching 180 innings, 190 innings this year, and it doesn't look like he's going to waver either. I mean, it's just doesn't look like there's any effort going. There's never grunting and groaning to throw a pitch. He just flips it up there, and he's
yeah.
got great command of the strike zone. And Detroit actually wasn't swinging it. I watched most of it. Wasn't swinging it too many pitches out of the zone either. So he was just throwing strikes on the edges, and he did end up getting behind in the count because that moron Vasquez shut up in the other batter's box on a 2-2 count once in a while. Drives me crazy when he gets out there, but. Anyway, he was Ober was terrific, and they didn't do any hitting until the ninth inning. But Detroit been playing well.
Yeah.
They beat them when Detroit was here, and then Detroit went on a nice streak, and now they beat them again. So they've. I don't think people are holding their breath for him to get a pitcher. I don't think they're going to get
Well,
one. They might get a marginal reliever, but I don't think they'll get a starter.
you saw Bobby wrote last week that Falvey's already talking about even if they want to add somebody, they kind of gotta send out some salary with it. They already cut like 35 million from the payroll, and it's not that expensive to add somebody for 2 months.
Two
I just
months?
it's
No,
amazing.
yeah.
It's amazing where they're at financially right now, or where they've said
Or
they're at
what they've
financially.
decided,
Yes, what they've
to
decided.
be financially.
Yes, good point.
And yeah, I don't know what they're up to. It's really stupid. But that again, I think the only way they're going to get a decent pitcher is if they can move Kepler, and they can't move Kepler.
Yes.
So
No,
I
who
mean,
would
nobody's people. They don't move position players. It's
no.
all about pitching, and
Well, yeah, I mean,
they might end up getting some kind of a reliever, but I don't think they're gonna I don't think they're gonna get a starter. Then they're gonna run Festa out there again 2 days from now, and he was better this
he
last
was
time,
good.
so
Yeah.
we'll see. And then they got this other guy who got knocked around a little the other day, but they love him. This Matthews guy they just called up from Wichita, and they had him in St. Paul, strike thrower. So I just they're if they get a starter, it's going to be a real marginal guy. I don't think
Yeah.
they're even that Quantrell or there's a couple of guys that are out there, Quantrell and a guy in, but I don't know. I'd be surprised if they get him. But it's really sending a terrible message to the fans
Well,
that
yeah.
we go get a pitcher. I don't know what they're up to. I
How
just
do you
don't know
how
too
do you feel
much.
about how do you feel about Pablo, Joe Ryan, and Bailey Ober in a 3-game wild card series?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's
Pablo's
okay.
been better.
He has been
Pablo's
better.
been. Oh, you're not going to get anybody better than you. If you get a Mars starter, it's not going to be anyone that's going to replace those three guys. I don't think it's going to be heck, even Simeon Woods Richardson. That he's been their savior because he's been good.
Yes, 100%.
And if they didn't, if he'd pitched like they expected him to, they'd be in real trouble. But
Yes.
the idea that they're going to go out and get a big pitcher is not good. And by the way, Sonny Gray's been terrible lately. So in
Yes,
St.
that's
Louis,
true.
so
And
so
Kent has been awful all year.
yeah, he pitched pretty good against him yesterday or the other day when he was the long man. But he's been bad all year. Well, I never lamented him getting traded. I mean, getting rid of letting
Yeah.
him walk. But I did Sonny, and Sonny was great early, but he's been struggling now. But yeah, they're
Yeah.
not gonna. You know, the most amazing ex-twin of them all, though, Gibby. Gibby's still going along, starting. Still starting, and
Still doing the
having
same
a
thing,
good
I
year.
bet too. Just he
Yeah,
was very repeatable.
he's now, he's now on the old man crew down in St. Louis with Lance Lynn and
Oh,
Sonny
Lance.
Gray.
Oh, geez.
Lance is down there, but yeah, I don't think they're going to get a starter. People. And it gives people are love to bash. We know what comments we're going to get on the Star Tribune, even
Oh,
if they win
yeah.
11-2. It's going to be Rocco's a terrible manager and the pull-heads are
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
They have a bad PR problem. Supposedly, Phil wrote, and I think that they might be getting back on
Yeah.
TV in a week or
Yeah.
10 days or something. So
Well, but they asked for another delay in this whole confirmation process. That was supposed to be like today and tomorrow to figure out if they can get out of bankruptcy. And there's like, well, we're getting close on all these things, so can we have a little bit more time? It's like, come on.
yeah, well, the season's damn near over here, boys.
Yes, and the
The
and the NBA and NHL seasons aren't that far away either. A couple months away from
and
those.
the Mighty Whiteys reached the 1/3, the 2/3 of
Yes.
the season point yesterday. 14 game losing streak of the year. They are 27-81.
It's
That is
amazing.
one out of every four. That's a
Yes.
250 winning percentage. I looked it up. The 62 Mets were 29-79, so they had a better record when they ended
Oh,
up. Now they lost 2 games somewhere along the way and went 40-120. So they
yes.
played. How is this possible?
I don't know.
How can they be? And they're supposedly the one pitcher they got, that lefty Crochet or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're going to try to trade him.
Yeah.
They're going to try to trade Robert, who's their best, Roberts, who's their best position player. And it's unbelievable. Meanwhile, Jerry says, build me $1 billion stadium, state
Right.
of Illinois. I got a hunch that ain't happening, Jerry.
No.
But the division's pretty good, except for them.
It is. I know. It is. It's been a lot better than we thought it would be. And that's, it's just kind of disappointing to even if you like where the Twins are right now and the pitching has pulled through, I think way better than I thought it would, just based on who they lost and kind of what the starting depth was. Like, yeah, you think about what they did in the playoffs last year, what they were finally able to do, where you thought, okay, not only did they have a chance, like they were set up to, they didn't beat Houston, but they were set up pretty well to beat Houston. And then just to kind of to go back to this where it's like, no, can't spend any money. Sorry, we're kind of tapped out. Their PR right now is a disaster, because this, by all intents, is a good season. Like, people should be enjoying this, and mostly people are just upset about the spending, about the TV, and about everything else.
ignoring them, and the
Yeah,
the
that
whole
too.
idea of saying we don't have enough money to help the team is, well, this is. I mean, it's people are acting like this is normal for them. This is really abnormal. It's not. We can go back to the mid '90s when Carl's. Saying
Oh
he
yeah.
needs a new ballpark and it's going to contract the team and that. But for 20 years, they've never been in a situation where they just said, well, yeah, we got a chance here, but we can't put
Right.
another 5 million on the payroll or not for. And as you say, for 2 months here, we're talking about.
Yes.
So if you're adding a guy, even if you're adding a guy who's making 20, you're only
You're paying
paying
six or
six.
seven.
Yeah, it's I don't know what the whole thing. I don't know who decided that this team's got to pay for itself.
Right.
That this is the bottom line's got to be we got to break even here.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this: I don't know anything about their finances,
Mm-hmm.
but they were big in commercial real estate. Okay, the
Uh-huh.
Pohlads, this
Yeah.
business.
Uh-huh.
That is not a great business to be in
That's a
right
good
now.
point.
So
That's a
they
good point.
the whole bundle, which is substantial, might not be as high as it used to be, and maybe this reflects it. I don't know.
Maybe.
But
Um,
they're not people say sell. Well, hey, anybody who buys them in this market is gonna, you know, who puts together a deal. They aren't gonna have more money than the poll ads.
no.
They're not gonna. They're gonna have to pay $1 billion. They're $1.2 billion or $1.3 billion or something.
Yeah.
It's not. This idea of anybody else is gonna. Unless we think we're going to get Steve Ballmer to come in here or something, it's not. It might not be different, but it just This is the message. The messaging this year is the worst it's ever been, and
Yeah.
and as you said, they're playing good. They're way
Yeah.
better than most of us expected,
Well,
man.
yeah, especially after the way they started this year. I thought it was just going to be a lost season and just like, who
They
cares if you
stopped
can't watch
strike.
them? They're terrible. But no.
They stopped striking out. They
Yeah, they
decided
did.
not to. They decided strikeouts were not good. What a
Yes.
concept! It
What a
was
concept.
fantastic. Put the ball in play and see what happens. It's kind of fun to watch, and
Yeah.
they're playing good. They're missing Gray right now, and their best player, and they're still hanging in there. And they got Brooks Lee and Royce is
Yep.
back. I mean, they got these young, they got some young guys, but they're just not on TV, out of sight, out of mind
Yeah.
for a lot of people. And of course, even more than if the Wild and the Wolves weren't on TV,
Yeah.
which the Wolves aren't going to be, by the way. If you're worried about Bally, but the new contract doesn't
New
kick in
contract's a
for 2 years.
year from now. Yeah.
Yeah, when
Got to
you
worry about that.
if you don't have your streaming options up, baby, you got nothing. And by the way, let me officially announce I am not upgrading my Peacock. No matter how many NFL games you put on there, I'm not upgrading my Peacock. The hell with you guys. That's NBC. That's just NBC taking the game off their television and putting it on something called Peacock, and they
Yes.
want me to pay $18 a month instead of
Yes.
six or
Right.
something. The hell with them. But I don't know. The Twins are just they messed this up from the start with,
Yeah.
and as I was going to get to, with the older audience that baseball has than any other sport except
Mm-hmm.
golf,
Mm-hmm.
that not being on cable is just a
Oh
disaster.
yeah. It is. It is. It's still like I tell everybody, it's the thing that I get the most emails about by far. It's just, covering this thing and just people wondering what's the update? Are they going to be back? What's going on here? Like people, it's just in the summertime. Like
And by
it's
the way, yeah, and another, it's football season's here now. It's too
yeah,
late now anyway
I know.
really to save it, to create much interest because now everybody's wondering about, the the Vikings, and
Well,
who got hurt today?
yeah.
You
Well,
know.
and you go this long too, you might have, Comcast might find that 20% of people either canceled or went somewhere else at this point too. Like if you're
Yes.
off the air for a few days, just like playing hardball, no one's going to cancel after 3 days. But you go 3 months, like they have at this
Yes.
point, you got a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
You gonna get out to Egan for any camp? Let's finish up there. You got
Yeah,
any?
I think the greatest thing about working for the Star Tribune is we
Hmm.
have three beat writers, and rumors we're going to have
Soon to be
four.
four. Yeah, there's a posting.
Rumor we got four beat writers, and then we got Sue Ann, who's very football centric, and
Hmm.
we got UNLV, who's
Yes.
will do quite a bit of football, and we got
Yes.
Chip,
Yes.
who's already been out there doing it. They don't
Yep.
need old Pat, and I don't have to go out there. And if I have covered two Viking games at the new stadium
Oh
and the
wow,
Super
that's right.
Bowl.
Yes.
I've been to
Yeah.
more high school prep bowl games than I have been to Viking games. And if I never have to go down there on a Sunday again, it'll be too soon. I don't care. They don't need me and I don't need them. So
Okay.
that's
That's fair.
my unless unless they do something to humiliate themselves, like have Jordan Addison, then you don't have to go out there to write about him being an
That's true.
idiot. You
That's
can
true.
do that from a distance. So, I don't watch exhibition games, and they're
Yeah.
not preseason; they're exhibition. The hell with
Exhibitions.
you.
Yeah.
So, I'll
We'll
wait for
catch
the season
we'll
opener,
catch
and
up
if
to
it's
them.
on Peacock, I won't watch it. So, okay.
Perfect.
It'll be a rumor to me, and I'll watch it on Twitter or watch it on the. Now, if it's on Peacock,
Yeah.
is it going to be on the red zone too? Can you see it
Uh
on the red zone?
I don't
I,
know. You know what? I
I
have
would
to
guess,
go ahead.
but if it's Sunday, if it's
Yeah.
on the red zone's only Sunday from noon to 6 anyway, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, if I got the red zone, I'm happy. I don't care
Yeah.
if I don't care about anything else. If you're not inside the 20, I don't care about you, or just score a long touchdown. But yeah, they don't need me out there, and I don't need them. I'm too old to walk up those steps, to walk all the way around to the other side, to stand there for 20 minutes when they bring out the guy 20 minutes later, have 25 people there asking idiotic questions, and then the guy leaves. It's
A good summary of it, actually.
I pine for the days of Mankato where you
I
could
do
just
too.
go find somebody in Gage Hall and sit down on
Yeah.
a couch and talk to them for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I miss Mankato in general. I miss, I
Yeah.
wasn't there for like the great access days, but I was down there like in the early 2000s. It was different then. It was definitely
Oh
different
yeah,
then.
that's great. I remember I once went down there. I was looking for a guy, a new Viking, and I thought, "Oh, I'll be here all afternoon." And you kind of found them by yourself then. I
Hmm.
went to the boys' room and tidied up and walked out of the men's room, and the guy was walking down the hall, and I said, "Hey, I can't remember what his name was. Nice guy."
Hmm.
Sat down, talked to him for 20 minutes. I'd been there for like a half hour. And I said, "See you, boys. I'm going home." Getting in the car. And plus, it's a nice quick hop. You could contemplate your life for an hour and 10 minutes driving back from Mankato. And now they're out there, and it takes as long to get there as it used to take you to get to Mankato when the traffic is bad.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
no, I will not be an Egan.
No, that's okay.
The
You're right.
hell with them.
We probably got it covered no matter what.
The
That's a good way
last
to
time
look
I
at
was
it.
there was for the Aurora. Oh wait, I didn't go to see the Aurora. I'm glad we're good. I'm glad. How do
How did we get
how
to the
did
Aurora on today's show? How did we do
I
that?
don't know the Aurora? Let's have more Aurora stories. It's amateur. The joking Aurora who lost to another uh, sports camp team, and the
Oh,
heartbreak. What a joke that's been. We're not covering the Olympics, but we'll be covering the Aurora. Come on, go, let's go.
you
Come on.
said it, not me.
Actually, we are covering the Olympics, just not there.
Not
So
there.
anyway,
Yeah.
But the Aurora is, I'm sure they're on front of mind right now with what they're going to do this offseason. Go Aurora, you chokers. You chokers.
All right, Patrick. Well, we'll see you, just not out in Egan.
Okay, not for the Vikes or the Aurora.
No.
Goodbye. See you.
Goodbye.